Hello and welcome to round 2 of the UCI Women's World Cup. We've moved here to the beautiful setting of Lago Maggiore for the start of 123 kilometres of racing. Well, last time we saw Lizzie Armistead take a stunning victory in the Ronde van Drenthe, and she'll be here today to defend the leader's jersey in the World Cup. She'll be joined by her teammates Ellen van Dijk and also Megan Guarnier as this team look to secure yet another win.
I'm hoping for a hard race, an aggressive race. That's the kind of race that our team would benefit from. So, yeah, hopefully everyone else has the same idea. There's not so many sprinters here, so it should be a tough race.
Oh, it's a beautiful day. The legs feel good. The motivation in the team is good, and we're ready.
The Trofeo Alfredo Binda is based in Cittilio, and Anna van der Breggen, who was second last time, should be happy because this course will suit her better.
It's a more hilly stage, so it's the first time this year again. It's I have to see how the climbing legs are, but we will see. I'm gonna try, and our team is gonna try. So.
This is Emma Johansson. She'll be feeling the pressure today. She's been 4 times second at the Cittilio World Cup, and she'll certainly want to get that win today.
I'm always a bit marked, and which I'm sort of used to. And I don't think I think, for example, Lizzie has shown a great form so far, so hopefully they will look a bit more to her, and maybe that will give me some space to make a move.
One of the season-long classifications is the race for the mountains jersey. This rider, Amy Peters, took the green jersey last time in Drenthe. The Specialised Lululemon team have Trixie Warwick. They also have Tiffany CROMWELL and Evelyn STEVENS riding her first round.
I love racing here. I mean, the World Championships in Varese were fantastic. The food's great. The area is just spectacular, so it's always lots of fans, so I can't wait.
I think we have a very strong team here today for the Cittilio World Cup, so we'll be going in to utilise our numbers and utilise our strength. You know, we want to be aggressive, we want to make the race, and we don't want to be left like having not utilise the power that we have, you know, and then come to the finish and not be able to take the win.
Rosella Rato, she's also a local girl around the area here. She'll want to have a great race in front of a home crowd. And she hasn't raced this season, so it'll be interesting to see how good she goes in her first race. Linda Willemsen, riding for Wiggle Honda. She has a powerhouse sprinter in the race in Giorgia Bronzini, so that'll give her a little bit of a freedom to go out there and attack and make it a hard race.
A little bit, only the...
Well, another local favourite is Elisa Longo-Borghini. She won last year, and this high-tech team have got some cards to play because they have the South African champion Ashley Moolman. It could be attacking from both riders.
We have more than one card to play, but obviously, you know, Elisa, it's home territory for her, and defending the title, that will be our A plan. But yeah, we'll just see how the race pans out, and it's beautiful weather in Italy, so we look forward to it.
Yeah, I'm ready. I had a good night, so let's race.
The scene is set then for the Trofeo Alfredo Binda here in Italy. First run in 1974. It's got a rich list of previous winners. Well, some entertainment here at the start as the riders get signed on for today's race. Always great to have some local entertainment in the square here in Laveno Mombello. Well, the snow is still on the mountains in the background, and they match Lizzie Armistead's white jersey as the leader of this UCI World Cup. So she'll be resplendent in that throughout today's race. Here's the standings after last time. Armistead leads with 120 points. Anna van der Breggen there in second place with 100. And a queue of riders looking to take that jersey away from Armistead before the end of the series. Well, we're here in Italy. What else would you have but a Ferrari to lead out the riders as the peloton now gets set. 24 teams taking to the start line in beautiful conditions. 19 degrees centigrade, and a complete contrast to last year. This race was a complete washout. Well, Rochelle, it's going to be an exciting race today. It's a very different course, very hilly compared to Drenthe last time.
It is a completely different race. It's certainly very hilly. I've ridden this course many times myself, and it's a very tough race. as was Drenthe, but just in a different way. But the most significant difference is the weather today.
Well, let's take a look then at the course. We head out of Leveno, and this race is based on Citilio. Along the way we have two sprints, one at 23.2 kilometres, one at 30.4, and the World Cup King of the Mountains after 34.4 kilometres of racing. We do one loop, a big lap, and then 4 runs through Citilio into an uphill finish. So here's the peloton now as they are all grouped together. We have got 93 kilometres to go in this 123 kilometre race, and we're now hitting the first climb of the day. Very important here to be near the front and not to get dropped by any splits that happen. And of course we have got points for the World Cup jersey at the top of this one. Rochelle, many teams represented as we go up and through the switchbacks on this climb.
Yeah, it was interesting. We saw there on the climb already the Wiggle Honda riders, Giorgia Bronzini being a pure sprinter on the front of the climb. That might be just to say, hey, I'm here and I'm in form. Now we see Anna Sanchez and the riders of the Ale Cipollini team. All these Italian teams here that are here, they'll know this course very well and certainly know these climbs like the back of their hand.
There's a few riders here suffering towards the back of the peloton, just trying to stay with the tempo that's being set by the Spanish rider. She's a Spanish time trial champion, riding for Wiggle Honda right there in the front. And just to her side, I can see already Elena Amalusic, the rider in the white jersey. She's the Belarusian champion. And many teams represented. A nice tempo being set on this climb. It's quite a tough climb that they do face. It is 3.9 kilometres in total. Now, Rochelle, you know this climb very well because the Australian team generally base themselves in this area in Varese during the season.
Well, that's true, and as we took off there, I saw there was a lot of Australian jerseys. So the Australian national team here, and also the Orica AIS team, which is an Australian registered team. So they've got quite a big group of riders here that would know these roads certainly really well. So they could be main players in today's race.
There is Ashley Moolman. We talked a little bit about her before the start, the South African champion. She's a very, very good climber indeed. She's just riding tempo. There is the Belarusian in the colours of her flag as the national champion. And Russ Velo there in the red, represented as well. Very strong tempo on this climb. Will be interesting to see who is the rider that takes the first move towards the crest of this initial climb.
Oh, look, we've had a crash there by Peter Mullins. I believe that she had her handlebars clipped by a motorbike. We've just heard about that, so she's just getting straightened out there. She doesn't look very happy about that, lost a little bit of time.
Well, you can see there her numbers have been ripped off as she hit the deck, and it's going to be a very, very hard chase now for her to get herself back into this group. Also up towards the front is Lizzie Armistead now, the leader of this World Cup. She is keeping herself right at the front of this race, keeping herself out of trouble because, Rochelle, when you're on a climb like this, there is the tendency for the weaker riders, the riders not feeling so good, to just leave a gap, and you could be very strong, but you don't want to be wasting energy.
Well, for Lizzie Armistead, it's a very unique situation here. If we look back last year and thought who'd be winning the World Cup Series going into round 2 in Italy and Citilio, we certainly wouldn't be thinking Lizzie Armistead would be carrying this jersey on her shoulder and the pressure. We have an attack now from Ashley Moolman going for the first GPM of the day, so there's points for the World Cup's climbers jersey, and it looks like Elena Emalus is just going to take that.
So over the top of the climb then, and that is the King of the Mountains that goes towards this green jersey. Confirmation of the result. Elena Amalusic is the rider who takes 6 points for Astana B Pink. Ashley Moolman in second, and yet again that name, Anna van der Breggen, is the rider who was in third place. 63 kilometres to go, and we now have a 6-rider breakaway establishing itself here, and it's a very strong one. Let's run through the riders. Mayuko Hagiwara, the 8 times national champion of Japan. Megan Garnier, Lucinda Brand, the Dutch champion. Valentina Carretta Amanda Spratt and Lisa Brennauer are now opening up an advantage on the chasing peloton. Very strong breakaway then, Rochelle. 40 seconds now is the advantage as we make our way rapidly through Reno.
Well, they certainly are moving. They've got a good combination of riders there, and having Amanda Spratt, she was 4th in this race last year, so it's definitely a strong breakaway, and they all look very motivated.
Well, they look extremely motivated to stay away, and there's 6 strong teams represented in this group, so you would expect that the peloton would give them a little bit of space, and the gap should realistically be growing.
Look, we can see in the background now that the peloton has decided that they're going to bring them in. They're not happy with this combination out front, which is very unusual because, as you said, well represented, but they do have race radios and they've obviously been instructed, let's bring this back together.
So the team tactics then being employed in the car, the team directors talking into the ears of the riders and telling them what is the move that they want to make sure they win this bike race. Valentina Corretta, though, still keen to try and establish an advantage, but the chase is on. This race looks like it will come back together now as they swoosh their way down this descent. Now there will be a few nervous riders in this peloton, in particular Elisa Longo-Borghini, who had a bad crash in the national championships last year.
I crashed last June during the national championships, and I was bridging from the group to the breakaway, and I was in the descent and it started raining and my front wheel just slipped. I went under a guardrail and I crashed into the stick. I had a broken iliac crest and I had a 20 centimeter wound in my stomach, and I had 20 stitches on the surface and 100 inside. The doctor said that I had to stay 1 month on the bed, laying on my back, but I wasn't really convinced, so after 10 days I was walking, and after 20 I was cycling. They said 3 months without cycling, but yeah. Sometimes when I'm really tired, I get more scared and I'm a bit more insecure during my descents and taking the corners, but when I'm fine and when I feel good, then I just go. I'm Italian, I love Giro d'Italia, and last year I couldn't race it, and so I would like to perform well in Giro. And then of course I would like to be fine for the other World Cup races and for the last part of the season, which means World Championships. I think Plouay is one of the best World Cup races. It's amazing because there are a lot of people on the parkour cheering for us, and it's really nice. It's a nice environment. If I can perform well in Plouay, then I can perform well in the World Championships. So yeah, I would like to be fine. I can manage to handle the pressure. I mean, I don't feel so stressed because I know my limits and I know how my form is, and so I'm not scared. Being less than 1 year after my crash, I'm still working on my form. Of course, I will be not among the favorites because I'm not at the same level as Johansson, Armistad and all the others, but this is like my home country, and I would like to show to my parents, my friends and everybody that I am there and I will fight.
Well, there's no doubt that Elisa Longo-Borghini is a fighter, and Rochelle, surely we call her Lamborghini.
Yeah, her official nickname is Lambo. Lisa Longo-Borghini gets a little bit tricky to say sometimes, but I'm sure give her a little bit more time and she'll be back to performing like a Lamborghini. She's a very bright star of the future.
Around 10 kilometres remaining then in the second round of the World Cup on the final loop around Citilio, and now we've got an attack here, and it is one of the riders from Specialized Lululemon making a bid.
This is Tiffany CROMWELL. She's such an exciting rider. We'll always see her attack. She loves attacking. That's what she does, and obviously she's setting this up for Evie STEVENS.
So a little bit of an advantage now for the rider in the black and white colours. It's such a different jersey, such a different design, and Tiff CROMWELL now trying to extend her advantage using the cards that they want to play so that they can launch Evie Stevens up this climb.
Well, she's definitely putting pressure on everyone else for the Specialised Lululemon team. Lululemon's their clothing sponsor, so they're always having an outrageous kind of looking outfit that catches the eye of people. Tiffany herself loves it. At first she was a bit hesitant about it, but she's now being reeled in, but she's definitely put some sting in the legs of the other teams.
So the pace making there at the front, and it is the Rust Velo team who have brought this back, but as we expected, it is Evie Stevens who's now trying to go away with Lizzie Armistead on the wheel.
Well, she was definitely set up by Tiffany CROMWELL's attack and she went over the top, but Lizzie Armistead and Emmy Johansson and Elisa is there as well. There's a lot of riders that have been able to respond very well to that. It looks like Evie, if you look at the expression on her face, she's really hurting there, so perhaps herself more than others.
Oh, Evie Stevens. We've got Giorgia Bronzini there on the left-hand side, the Italian sprinter from Wiggle Honda. She's trying to stay with the tempo. Ellen van Dijk right there in the centre in the orange colours of the Boels Dolmans team, looking around to see where everyone else is, looking after Lizzie Armistead. It's an interesting combination of riders in here. It's going to be a thrilling run into the finish.
Well, that was an exciting start to the hill. I think we're halfway up now, so the dangerous part's about to come. You can see the riders on the back, they're really struggling. So when the moves are about to go down on the front, I think this is going to dwindle down.
Another attack now. Oh, here we are. Evie Stevens goes yet again. I talked to her this morning. She said she'd brought the Californian sun here to Italy, and she looks very, very in bit of pain here as she goes up the climb. Armistead looks very, very easy, and Johansson a little bit further back looking strong.
Well, these are the best climbers that you see now coming to the fourth. Emmy Johansson there from Orica AIS. They all look like they're struggling. Lizzie Armistead's putting the pressure down. She's hurting the bunch there, but look, they've pulled a little group away, and I think that was the objective of those attacks.
So let's just look through this group. We've got Elisa Longo-Borghini there from the high-tech team, and just as we mention her, she makes her move. So Longo-Borghini, she didn't expect to be mixing it perhaps with Armistead and the likes, but already this rider who was third in the World Championships already in her career, second in Flèche Wallonne, now extending the pressure on the rest of the riders, and it's the Belarusian who's been looking good today, Elena Amalusic, who is sitting second wheel on the climb.
She's certainly been able to cover all these hard moves from the favourites today, so she'll be one to watch in the finish. She has some really good results in El Salvador early season. She's already won 4 races this year.
Wow. Luperini is starting to struggle a little bit. You can see the pain on the face as she makes her way up to the crest of this climb, and suddenly the Astana B Pink rider is the rider who's putting everyone else into the hurt box now. It's Elena Longo-Borghini, Armistead, Van der Breggen, Pauline Ferren-Prevot, Emma Johansson and Elena Amalusic, who are the riders who are racing clear.
We've got 6 riders now leading the bike race and 2 riders chasing across. That's Ellen van Dijk, she's the current individual time trial world champion, joined by Oya ZABELINSKAYA. Not a bad duo.
Absolutely not. Zabelinskaya has just had a baby after the Olympic Games and now returning to racing.
Well, there is that theory that after women have babies, they come back to the sport much stronger. Olga had 2 babies before the Olympics. She's had 1 since last year in May.
Well, the team tactics here for Zabelinskaya are going to be interesting because Ellen van Dijk is not going to share the pacemaking at all. She will just sit there. She doesn't want to take Zabelinskaya across to this breakaway. And remember, it was Armistead, Voss and Zabelinskaya who were in the break racing into the Mall at the end of London 2012.
Well, this really is a strong break of 6 and it's very well represented, and they are the best bike riders in the race that are out there, so it will be very surprising if these 2 actually make it back. But we are talking about Olga Zabelinskaya. She was 3rd at the Olympics, and if anyone can do it, it'll be this woman and that 2 riders together.
Armistead, though, is now on the front and she has got the bit between her teeth. She wants to keep this one going. Emma Johansson just freewheeling at the back in the green, white and blue of the Orica AIS team. But this duo are now closing. A great amount of work here being done by the time trialist, who is cruising her way across. Lisa Longoborghini on the front there. So everyone working very hard. It is a critical moment in this bike race.
It certainly is. It's going to come down to who wants this race the most. And Emmy Johansson, she's been very consistent the last 5 years, but she has not won a World Cup since 2009. She feels like a little bit of a local here with an Australian registered team based in Italy, so she knows these roads well, and it would be a very proud moment for her to win here. However, she is labelled the Silver Lady.
Well, of course, last time she was 8th in Drenthe, only 35 points scored towards the overall World Cup series, and she was the #1 ranked rider last year, so she desperately wants to try and get herself up there on the top step of the podium. Could silver become gold today? You don't want that tag, do you?
Well, from this bunch, I mean, Lizzie Armitstead's been in top form. To take that win at the World Cup in Drenthe was really impressive, and I think on a slightly uphill sprint it's going to be a very close showdown between Lizzie Armitstead and Emmy Johansson.
Armitstead, I talked to her yesterday before the race, and she said that between Drenthe and here she'd been a little bit sick, but that she was feeling good. She's already recovered, so it'll be interesting to see how she does go. On the back of the group there, wearing #1, Longoborghini, the defending champion, as we head in now to the finish. 500 metres to go, and Van Dijk is where you would expect, right on the front for Armitstead.
This is going to be an exciting finish. Like we said, it would be a very mental edge for Lizzie Armitstead to have won in Drenthe, and obviously Emmy Johansson's coming into top form with her main target being Flanders next week. We're just about to hit the final sprint, and it looks like Ellen Van Dijk's got Lizzie Armitstead in really, really perfect position.
Well, this finish is uphill. You have to judge it absolutely perfectly now. Van Dijk leading out in the orange and black. Armitstead right on the wheel. To the left-hand side goes Emmy Johansson. Armitstead takes a glance across at her, but it's Johansson who's chosen right to the barriers here. She's going for it. Armitstead trying to come back. It's Amalusik in the middle. Johansson does take it right on the line. It was very, very close between those riders, but it looks like Johansson has taken that elusive World Cup win. Here's the peloton. They're going to race in towards the finish here. Who's going to take it? It is one of the Mexico Farin riders, but Bronzini now opens up the throttle. Bronzini's going to go for the finish line. She's going to take 9th place for the peloton. That's a good result for her.
That was actually a fantastic result for her, but how about that sprint to the line with Lizzie Armitstead and Emmy Johansson? Look, she's extremely happy there with her teammate Scandalara. It's a real team effort these days. Nothing can be done by herself, and it was a very satisfying win for Emmy Johansson.
Well, hugs there between Armitstead and Van Dijk. So close. Just didn't have the edge. Johansson got that sprint absolutely right. Let's take a little look here. Rochelle, the sprint opened up there with Johansson.
I think Johansson started her sprint early, and Lizzie maybe perhaps left it a little bit late to come off her teammate's wheel. Putting faith in your teammate is a decision that you need to make, and she did that, and I think it was just a little bit late to come back over Johansson.
Oh, it was great. I think it's just today it was really a big victory for the team. We've been working awesome together, and yeah, everyone has done their part of the job, and we come off with a win, so I think everyone should be happy. We said we wanted to make a good memory from today, and I think we did it.
What a fantastic race here in Trofeo Alfredo Binda in Citilio. Emmy Johansson wins in 3 hours, 5 minutes, 24 seconds ahead of Lizzie Armitstead and Elena Amalusik. Here's the run through then of the top 20 riders at the end of the 123-kilometre race. On the podium then, Emma Johansson takes the trophy. She finally takes that elusive World Cup win. She hasn't taken a victory in this series since 2009.
And today's winner of the mountain jersey goes to Elena Amalusik, possibly one of the strongest riders in today's bike race.
She certainly was. She looked very, very good on the climbs today. The best young rider is Pauline Foron-Provost of the Rabo Liv team. She'll carry the burgundy jersey into the next round. Let's take a look then at the standings at the end of round 2 of the 9 rounds of racing. Lizzie Armitstead now leading with 220 points. Anna van der Breggen keeps her position in 2nd place, and Johansson moves into 3rd. Lizzie Armistead pulls on the white leader's jersey after 2 rounds of the UCI World Cup. And let's hear from her now. It was a close run thing today.
I guess that's a good position to be in. I like to be at the front of a race and be in control of the race. That's the way I race best. So if people watch me, then that's a good thing, I guess.
You had Ellen van Dijk again with you in the final. Was she a big help?
Yeah, she's always strong, Ellen, and to have her in the final in a sprint is perfect. She's a perfect lead-out woman, and she did a really perfect job, especially Megan Garnier as well was super strong today. A shame I couldn't finish it for them.
2 rounds of exciting racing so far in the UCI Women's World Cup. Make sure you follow us at UCI Women's Cycling. And we're heading now to Belgium for the iconic Tour of Flanders. From Rochelle Gilmore and myself, Anthony McCrossan, thanks for joining us again. We'll talk to you again soon. Bye for now.